I hope you do.
You better know.
Yeah, if you've been here this entire time.
If you're new, this is Gabe.
And Dave.
And we're here to torture you.
Yeah, this is the first part in a series about each of the regions we think the next Elder Scrolls game should be in.
That's right. We're going to be counting down the regions we think it should be in, and while this first one I'm kind of wary of saying it would be in there since we've been there before, the other ones we haven't been to. So
yeah, this will be one of 5 or 6 episodes?
Well, let's see. There's 4 other ones we've never been to, and then there's this one everyone keeps thinking it will happen.
So 5. So 5 total.
5 total. But this one, again, we're going to tell you why we think it could be and why we think it couldn't be. Take everything with a grain of salt, though, because we've been here before.
Also, the episodes are in no particular order, like from which ones we want the least.
It's just ones we want to research the most at the time.
Yeah, so it'll just be from number 9 to 5, and it'll be 5 questions we ask in each episode of that particular land, which we will get to as we go through.
Right.
So, moving on.
Okay, so the region we're talking about today is
Hammerfell.
Hammerfell! That deserty, dry place with people in it that have curved swords.
Although it is a misconception that it's all desert. There's actually some
that's a misconception, but that's how everybody understands it, daggone it.
I get that.
So we're going to talk about why we think it could be there, or what reasoning we would have to say that it's possible to be the next Elder Scrolls. One thing is, and this is something I kind of don't believe makes it... It's kind of one of those iffy things. The trademark Redguard. Before Skyrim came out, the name Redguard was trademarked.
Yeah, I disagree with that. We both disagree with that.
We both disagree with that. At first, people thought it was going to be a DLC for Skyrim. After it didn't come out as a DLC, everyone was like, oh, this is totally going to be what the Elder Scrolls 6 is, because, it's going to be in Hammerfell with all the Redguards. But Bethesda also re-released, Redguard, the game. The Elder Scrolls Adventures Redguard. And if you don't know how they work their trademarks, they don't trademark, the Elder Scrolls 6 and then the title. The Elder Scrolls is already trademarked. They just add in the rest.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the evidence some people are using to say it would probably be in the next province. It's probably the strongest piece of evidence if it's true. I looked at the trademarks, and it kind of correlates with the re-release of Redguard, however. So it could be for both games.
Yeah, they could have just said, hey, what the hell? We weren't going to make Daggerfall, but, we just copyrighted the Redguard. Although that kind of doesn't make sense.
It's Bethesda, Dave. It doesn't make sense.
All the other Morrowind, landmass. Granted, Oblivion isn't a landmass.
Oblivion had to do with the realm of Oblivion. Skyrim had to do with Skyrim. Daggerfall had to do with the, Iliac Bay. So Arena was all of Tamriel. So we've never seen a name of a game in the canonical Elder Scrolls series named after a race. Now, in the Elder Scrolls Adventures, we've seen one named after the race, and that was Redguard. So, but...
They could, instead of doing the next Elder Scrolls 6, do a remaster of the Redguard game.
Which would be interesting. I would actually like to see that if they did a remaster of it. Another reason we think it could be there is, and this is what a lot of people are saying, contrast to Skyrim. Skyrim was kind of like a frozen-ish wasteland, always dreary, always gray, according to everybody.
I like that.
Well, yes, I like that too. I just say it wasn't always gray. If you go down to certain regions, it's actually quite sunny and colorful. But they're saying it would be a really good contrast to Skyrim, and so it would make sense to do that.
But there's also other areas that are also a good contrast.
Right, so there's almost every other province that you can visit is a good contrast to Skyrim. I mean, you can't really get much more contrasty than everywhere else. I mean, High Rock, I guess, is not contrast, but other than that, everywhere else is pretty much contrast. And the final reason that we think it's possible is because of the war that happened, the Great War that caused the White Gold Concordant with the Thalmor. The Redguards obviously seceded from the Empire and took their land back. And with the Dovahkiin possibly leading the rebellion against them either by joining the Stormcloaks or joining the Empire and helping rally the Empire against the Thalmor, there could be another Great War, and people think that the Redguards would be involved in that.
Yeah, there could be a second Great War, which would be annoying. I wouldn't like that, honestly.
Well, there could be a second Great War and it not be the main quest. We'll talk about that in a moment, though.
It could be the side, kind of like Skyrim did. It was the side thing, kind of.
With the Civil War.
The side campaign.
But they think if there is another Great War, that the game would take place in a province that would be very opposed to the Thalmor. So that's always a possibility that could be making it, in that region.
Okay, next we're going to be talking about the environment in Hammerfell. Now, we're not going to be talking about the creatures, because honestly there's a lot of creatures, and there's a lot of awesome creatures in the game,
in the
area.
We will say that we're not hating on Hammerfell because of the environment, because it's got a very interesting environment, despite what people think, and has a lot of weird, bizarre creatures. So we're going to talk about that environment and what we think it's going to be like.
And yeah, I was going to say, there's like, if I remember correctly, there's like absolutely massive stone scorpions and stuff like that. So that would be cool. The only problem is, even with the diversity of areas, it would still be a lot of desert.
There would be a lot of desert. There is, if you've seen, I don't think Roshank used that clip in his video. We provided him with some footage of Daggerfall. If you've ever played Daggerfall, there's actually a portion of Hammerfell that looks kind of like a swampy, fertile farmlands near the ocean. So that is, obviously, there's going to be green in it. So despite what everyone thinks, it's not one gigantic desert.
Yes.
There are areas in it that are green, that are lush, that are alive, but there is a huge freaking desert in the middle of it.
Actually, the desert's kind of to the left. But
shut up, Dave.
It's
there.
It's the left.
It's in Hammerfell.
Actually, and there's 4 major regions, and there's also an island. What's the name of the island, right?
No.
There's a name of an island.
You're supposed to be doing the research for this one, man.
I just remember that there's an island there. There's lots of pirates, and there's lots of pirates on the island and stuff. So there's also that, but I cannot remember the name of the island right now. So yeah, the first region, there's a Bangkorai. Bangkorai. It's Bangkorai.
It's gonna be on screen.
Yeah, on screen. Now, a lot of it is desert, but there's also a lot of huge rocks and almost mountains made out of rocks, and there are trees and some grasslands and some grass mixed in there, but for the most part it's desert with rocks.
So think of it kind of like Badlands.
Kind of, yeah. And then next you have Craglorn, which is pretty much just a dry wasteland. But in the north there is a very large area that is just lots. It's basically the Reach from Skyrim. That's how I've heard it described. And so it's a lot of mountains, and there's greenery, and there's grass, and there's trees, but that's only in the north of Craglorn. Then you have Kefrem, which is a huge desert that is mixed with grasslands.
So it's probably more like the grasslands I was talking about earlier. What region is that? Where's that at in?
I don't remember where exactly. I'll have a map up on screen of Hammerfell, but I don't remember exactly where it is in there. And then you have the last province, which is the Alkiri
Desert.
Alkiri Desert.
Now, this is the most prominent feature of Hammerfell, and the one thing people think of when they think of Hammerfell
is the desert.
And the desert is special, right there.
Yeah, it's never been confirmed, but a lot of people believe it is a magical desert that even might be alive in some ways because of the weird things people see in it. There's also a bizarre red mist that comes up on occasion and seems to change the landscape. So there are definitely some weird things in the desert, and that's where some of the really weird, bizarre enemies are.
And, we spoke of story. This could possibly be something that affects the story. Maybe the main story has to do with this red mist. Maybe there's something you can get from it. It's a very interesting area, kind of mysterious, not very well known.
If I had to attribute it to anything else, I would say it's kind of like the Green Sea in Fallout 4, only even more awesome. Because again, it supposedly like changes and stuff, and there's a lot of weird enemies.
And of course, there's going to be ruins of Dwemer and what do you call them?
That's true.
Aliens.
There's a bunch
Alien and Dwemer ruins. Obviously, some are going to be in that desert, so that makes it even further mysterious.
I was going to say that actually Hammerfell as a whole has quite a few more Dwemer and alien ruins than some other places. So that would also be interesting. just to have in there. So yeah, there's that. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, that pretty much covers regions for the most part until you see them firsthand, which obviously you can in Elder Scrolls Online, but it'd be different at this time frame. There's not much else to say about them.
Next, we're going to be talking about why we don't really think it should be there.
Or think that it could be there.
Because
we have reasons. All right. One of the main reasons, for me anyway, and I think this would be a pretty good reason for any true Elder Scrolls fan, is unless Bethesda tries to bend the lore a bit, which they've done, it would be very, very detrimental to mages. The Red Guards do not like mages. In fact, if you're playing Oblivion, there is a mage in, what's the name of that city on the far right? I got my map. Hold on, pull up a map here.
He actually has a physical map.
I do. I played Oblivion and I got the freaking map for it because it's, a great map. Shadenhall. I thought that's what it was. I just want to sound stupid. There's a mage in Shadenhall who's a Red Guard, and he talks about, and we'll put the quote up on screen, what he says about how Red Guards do not like magic, especially the schools of conjuration and illusion, like soul trapping, which is stealing someone's soul, and illusion, messing with their minds, or summoning up evil demons, as they call them, or whatever. They don't like it, and they see anybody who uses magic as a weakling or a coward. Now, that's not to say there isn't special Red Guard magic, like the Sword Singers. They have their little sand, or what do they call it?
The Sword Singers, and there's also rock mages.
Right.
But
that's what it is.
They're different.
They're a little bit different. So they have their own kind of magic, but we think that it would give Bethesda more reign to delude the magical arts in the Elder Scrolls, which they've already done in a horrible fashion over the past 2 games.
Yeah.
And that would be really detrimental to anybody who likes to play as a mage in the series. So we think that would be a drawback to doing it, and a reason they may put it off unless they want to bend the lore a bit, or just say, screw it, it's been 200 years, the Red Guards no longer care.
I think it would be interesting if we did go to Hammerfell. I don't know, I keep calling it Daggerfall.
So we were there in Daggerfall. We'll get to that in a minute.
Which I don't want to... This is actually a thing I had for when we do the Black Marsh episode. As a way they can get around the lore of it being poison mist. But I think there could just make magic a main point in the story. Like, Evil Wizard all of a sudden makes it so there's a huge inflow of magic.
Magic itself is always flowing down from
I know.
Sun.
The sun.
Ethereus.
But there's a large gathering of it or something.
Mages. Like an evil mage raises up or something like that. Yeah. Which would make sense for a story. There's always been a central villain in the story. And we'll get to the story here in a bit.
Or you could have the central villain of the story be the land.
Dun dun dun.
Fight the land.
This is Dave, folks. So that's not really a reason for it not to be there, though, Dave. You kind of off track.
I know.
Another reason I don't think it would be the next Elder Scrolls game necessarily is because we've been there quite a few times already. And before you say we haven't ever fully explored Hammerfell, yes, we have. Arena, we've explored every single province. You can go through every town there. Daggerfall, you went to the northern part of Hammerfell. Elder Scrolls Online, you go to Hammerfell. Hammerfell has been visited time and again. And to me, it would just kind of be lame to do something we've been to several times. Now, you can argue, well, in Arena and Elder Scrolls Online, we've been to every province anyway. Right, but Hammerfell and Daggerfall have... Actually, why did I call it Daggerfall? High Rock. Daggone it, Dave. Hammerfall and High Rock have been explored already. For the most part. Not the majority of Hammerfell. I know it was only a small portion, but you've been there enough times. And to me, going back just kind of seems like a waste.
So it would be the 4th time you went back to it, right? Or
right, it'd be the 4th time going to it. So that would be another reason we don't think it could be possible. But then again, you never know. This is Bethesda we're talking about.
They could screw with everything.
Or it could be kind of like Daggerfall again, where you go to High Rock and Hammerfell. Who knows?
That'd be awesome.
That would be. Okay, now we get to talk about the story and what we think it could possibly be, or rather, what we don't think it could possibly be.
Yeah, so to start off with, we don't like and we don't think that the story will be about a second Great War.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk around the Elder Scrolls 6 community, which doesn't even exist really, but people thinking about it and speculating about it, saying it's going to be in Hammerfell and it's going to be about the Second Great War at the Thaun War. And a lot of people think that's the most viable option, and there's been hints dropped. And it's like, no, just stop where you're at. Aside from Daggerfall, every Elder Scrolls game has had one very powerful mythical creature to go up against. Jagar Thon, or how do you say his name? Jagar Tharan from Arena. Dagoth and Morrowind, Mehrunes Dagon, a Daedric freaking prince in Oblivion, and the Ender of the World Alduin in Skyrim. If they go with such a pathetic little story as a second Great War with the enemy being high elves, cats, and short people, it's just going to be disappointing as ever, which, I wouldn't be surprised. Elder Scrolls is getting more and more disappointing anymore.
So yeah, I think there will be a much grander campaign or story. Now, that's not to say there might be a second war, but it's going to be a secondary.
It'll be a secondary main quest, like the Civil War in Skyrim, if it happens at all.
Which I'm doubting it will happen.
I mean, thinking of it like the Second Great War would be better finished up in backstory lore. The Dovahkiin reunites Skyrim, gets them to reunite the Empire, and they go to war with the Thalmor. And that's just kind of covered in the background. And I think that would be a better use of their assets than just BSing and saying, hey, we're going to have this war with these Thalmor again.
Yeah,
that would just be so
That's
boring.
the second game in a row now.
That cannot be the main story for it to be good. Now, it's not to say Bethesda won't screw this up. They've screwed other things up. But we think it's going to be something else.
Yeah, so... we'll present. I guess you can say what you might think it is. I think it will have to do with the alternative timeline that the Red Guards came from,
which would be why Hammerfell, which we'll say later, will be the best as the last game in the series. But continue.
Yeah. So it has. My opinion, it would have to deal with the mages of the. I'm probably gonna get some of the lore on this. I'm kind of iffy on, so I might say something wrong here. That it has to do with the stone mages coming back, or they have a special word for them. I can't really remember how you say it. It's like supposed to C, I think. It had to do with them coming back and fighting with the Red Guard that are now in Hammerfell. Because you remember, there was an island, which I can't remember the name of that either. Yakuta. That the Red Guards and the mages were on. The stone mages. And there was a civil war. And
the Sword Singer is one who sank the island, right?
I believe it was. And... they sank the island, and the Red Guard fled to the across the ocean and
to
Hammerfell. So I think the story should have to do with
some small contingent that survived somehow,
or this actual portal opening up and new things from the other alternative dimension.
Well, the other timeline got
the other timeline.
But, I mean, it could be anything. It could even be somebody trying to resurrect the Stone Mages and becoming a powerful wizard like Jagar Tharan from Arena to make the main story. It's one central, really powerful villain that is trying to destroy the world, which has been the case thus far in all the Elder Scrolls aside from Daggerfall. And, I mean, even Daggerfall had some implications.
So, yeah, for the...
Now, I was going to say, one other storyline we do not think could be the main storyline, because this has been being tossed around as well. And again, we're not entirely sure what the main storyline will be, but we do have a good idea of what we think it won't be. The Dwemer returning. That's not going to happen.
Please, no.
Quit thinking it's going to happen. Stop thinking it's going to... They got turned to the bronze skin of Numidium, and they got destroyed. You can find ash piles of them in the expansion for Morrowind Tribunal, where they were standing guard and they suddenly got turned into piles of ash. They're gone. It's not going to happen. Unless Bethesda really pulls some gymnastics with the lore, and people are like, well, we don't know. No one knows what happened to them. There's really strong evidence that they're just gone from screwing with the heart of Lorkhan.
They're just dead.
I mean, Lorkhan could come back. That'd be interesting. That would be really a difficult enemy in a story. How would you defeat Lorkhan?
It would be interesting.
That would actually work out well for Hammerfell. See, okay, I'm going to get to this right now. The reason I want Hammerfell to be the last game of the series is because given the lore behind the Red Guards, they came from an alternate timeline where the world was ending. They walked sideways through time to get there. And they may have some, over time, secrets on how to help prevent the end of the world. Maybe they've been studying it more and more throughout generations. And they have some way of fighting it. And maybe Lorkhan could be a main enemy in that. Of course, Alduin is supposed to be the one who ends the world, but you know how Todd Howard is.
Mm-hmm.
And they could be fighting against one final ultimate force that's going to end the world. But the Dwemer coming back, not gonna happen. Like, even if, they went to wherever Lorkhan's at now, he would have destroyed them. Or absorbed them.
Yeah.
He could have absorbed them. Who knows? But that's not going to be a storyline, and if there is a storyline revolving anything coming back, it should be something like Lorkhan returning to his fullest glory, which would be the worst possible scenario for Nirn.
Be an interesting game, though.
And just again, we'd have to buy a Nerevarine. Not call back the other one. He's in Akavir. We could go purchase a new Nerevarine at the Nerevarine store, get Sunder and Keening, and do something about that, if you could. I guess, you need Ariel's bow and, just take his heart, have the Aedra fight him, and the Daedra fight him, and take his heart, and then fire it in Red Mountain again. Mm-hmm. That turned out so well the first time.
That would be interesting.
But yeah, that's kind of what we're thinking for stories, what it won't be. Again, we don't really have a really solid idea of what it might actually be. Bethesda hasn't dropped enough hints. There was...
that is if it actually isn't. Right.
Well, yeah, there was a quest line in Skyrim that people think would drop a hint, and we would like to know what you think in the comments. In the Time of My Need, I think is the name of the quest line.
Oh, is that
that Red Guard lady? She's running from the Red Guards
mm-hmm.
Because crimes, and we won't go further than that because we want people to speculate in the comments. So if you think that might play into the story of Hammerfell, then please, by all means, tell us. But we're not entirely sure what it could be other than a very disappointing Second Great War. Okay, now the next thing we're going to talk about is what guilds could possibly be there in the Elder Scrolls 6 if it takes place in Hammerfell. In Skyrim, we had a couple guilds that were kind of different, but similar at the same time as Companions and College of Winterhold, which replaced the Mages Guild and Fighters Guild. Obviously, the Mages Guild's been disbanded, so there probably won't be a Mages Guild in Hammerfell, sadly.
There'll probably be some... I think there's probably going to be an underground, kind of like a Thieves Guild of magic.
Possibly. That would be in there, but obviously they have their own kind of magic, which is the sword singing.
Sort of. So it's sort of magic. Well, it's definitely magic. It's kind of like bound weapons, sort of. But...
Yeah, so there may be some kind of guild along those lines, or possibly, as Dave said, some kind of underground magical guild, but it probably won't be called the Mages Guild. There's definitely going to be some kind of Fighters Guild. Now, whether or not it's going to be the Imperial Institutionalized Fighters Guild, or a different Red Guard Fighters Guild, or both, we can't be too sure. We don't know which direction Bethesda is going to go on that.
Actually, I do want, if it is in Hammerfell, I do want one guild you can only join if you are a Red Guard.
That'd be interesting.
Again, I've said this before in other videos on...
There should be some racial restrictions.
There should be racial and religious restrictions on guilds and magic and just everything.
And speaking of religions, there probably won't be... I mean, there hasn't been an Imperial cult joinable since Morrowind. There probably won't be one in Hammerfell, but there may very well be one for their own gods, because if you remember, they came from a different timeline. They brought their gods with them.
They have their own... there's a word for them.
Don't worry about that. So there may be a religious guild where you can claim affiliation towards the gods of the Red Guards, kind of like there was religious guilds in Morrowind. And there may also be the Imperial on top of that if they do that. In Morrowind, you could join the Tribunal Temple and the Imperial Cult, or either or, it didn't really matter. So it'd be interesting if they go back and do something similar with Hammerfell, where you can join the, Church of the Red Guard, we'll just call it like that, and make it easy, or the Imperial Cult. Hopefully that will be in there, and we're speculating that if they listen to the people, they'll go back and do that kind of thing. Obviously, there's going to be a Thieves Guild.
Of some sort. I don't think it would probably be the official Thieves Guild, but maybe.
It may or may not be. Given the quest line of Skyrim with the Thieves Guild getting a new head who might rebuild the Thieves Guild, it could be just like the original one, like in Morrowind, you did some good things for people at the end, and in Oblivion, the whole time you're trying to steal from the rich, give to the poor, Robin Hood style, or it could be a corrupt faction of it.
Like a corrupt faction, and then you would kind of clean it up, or something like that.
Yeah, possibly clean it up, make it better. There's probably going to be an Assassin's Guild, more than likely the Dark Brotherhood. Hopefully not.
Yeah, this is one.
I'm getting tired of the Dark Brotherhood.
This is one reason I want it in Black Marsh. Getting a little off topic, because I want something that's not the Dark Brotherhood.
But there might be a different Red Guard faction as well of assassins. True. So there's probably going to be an Assassin's Guild. But one guild I am confident there will be is a Pirates Guild, and that's not really a guild. But it's a faction you can join. And I mean, you're there. You got the Lilac Bay, right?
That's what I was thinking of.
And you've got pirates there, and there's probably going to be a chance for you to join them, which might be a kind of a derivative of the Thieves Guild. Maybe there won't be a Thieves Guild, but instead the Outlaw Guild will be the Pirates Guild.
Although I wonder if there is a Pirates Guild or something like that. I wonder if there's going to be boats.
Well, there better be.
I mean, like, because I was thinking about...
Hammerfell's surrounded on 3 sides with water.
Yeah.
There better be boats.
Like, I was thinking about Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And you played as a pirate in that game. You drove a boat around, and you attacked other ships. And you were a pirate. And so if they just had that kind of thing from that, because Assassin's Creed Black Flag was the only good Assassin's Creed game. I don't give a crap what the hell you said. That would be awesome if they had something like that.
There is definitely a lot of potential for Bethesda to go for the guilds here. Aside from the guilds we've already mentioned, there's not much else unless you get into political guilds that I can really think of, Dave.
Or maybe even new guilds. But I don't really...
I mean, I could see like a new guild, because they have all those ruins there. They probably haven't really explored them all. They could have an exploration kind of like a side guild, not really a main guild.
That would be really awesome. Like, you could get quests to go explore the Alkiri Desert.
Right. Or a cartographer. But other than what we've gone over, there really isn't much we can think of that would be in the Elder Scrolls 6 Hammerfell for guilds.
Actually, I was going to say one other thing. Like, if there was a map guild where you had to make maps, parts of the map could not be available for you to fast travel to or see until you took the information you had back to the person and they turned it into a map.
Right.
That would be really awesome. I don't think that will be in the game, but that would be an awesome idea.
That would be, and if there is a Pirates Guild, which, like I said, I really feel there will be, there is a potential for ship battles. That, I think, would add in an amazing layer to the game. It would obviously give you an excuse to write about, like Dave was saying.
I'm on a boat!
And I think that would exponentially increase my desire to see Hammerfell if there was such a guild and they had such things in it. So we would like you to leave in the comments below what kind of guilds you think will be in the Elder Scrolls 6. Like I said, I don't think there's really going to be a Fighters Guild. It'll be its own faction, and another Mages Guild will be its own faction, that's Redguard. But I'm sure we'll see some very familiar stuff. Okay, so before we end this out, we'd like to take a small bit of your time here to talk about possibilities of weapons in the Elder Scrolls 6. If you've played Skyrim, and if it's in Hammerfell, you're going to know that everyone talks about the curved swords. Quite often. Obviously, there's going to be scimitars.
Scimitar? Lots of curved swords, just everywhere.
Scimitars, there's going to be possibility of falchions, which would be nice. Rapiers. If you've ever played the Elder Scrolls Adventures, Redguard, you have a rapier. So that would be interesting to see how they do the movesets with that, since it's more of a thrusting weapon. And there wasn't really very many thrusting animations in Skyrim unless you had, you were moving a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be interesting to see. But one thing Dave and I would like to talk about is the possibility that if it's in Hammerfell, there might be guns or cannons instead of bows and crossbows.
Yeah, definitely if there are actually ships you can go on, I think there probably will be cannons, at least on the ships. But tell you the truth, out of all the regions, if there were guns in Hammerfell, I would actually be okay with it. The only region I would be okay with it, though.
Yeah, as much as we've said in the past, we don't think guns would fit into the Elder Scrolls. That isn't so when it comes to Hammerfell. The region itself and the culture there, and especially with pirates, like Dave said, and ships, just begs for guns to fit in that setting. And I mean, if they don't have crossbows, what would be better than that? A rifle.
Well, actually, why not just have bows and guns?
Well, like regular longbows, but instead of crossbows, possibly a rifle.
Yeah, it would make sense. You would think, or at least they'd have something other if they don't like ranged.
Right.
They'd have at least something else.
Now, that's not to say we approve of guns in the Elder Scrolls universe. Everyone says it makes sense for logical progression. We don't think so. This is a different universe from us.
They have magic there.
Yeah, they have magic.
If anything, I think what they'd actually end up getting into is...
Magic rifles?
Would be guns that you could focus your magical energy into. And they used your magic like a a magic sniper rifle. Didn't
Right,
actually
to make a projectile.
to make a projectile. I don't think they would go a route that humans did.
Right, normal Earth did. But if they do go with it, it would be great in Hammerfell. I think it would fit in nicely. Again, I'm not a huge fan of the idea, but given that there's a chance for Hammerfell to possibly have chance for Hammerfell to possibly be the next setting for the next Elder Scrolls, guns are a possibility.
Okay, well, that's the video.
That's it.
Yeah, thank you for watching. Please tell us what you think in the comments below. We do want you to... We're going to be doing Black Marsh next.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you want us to do after Black Marsh?
We have 3 other places we haven't gone. And you know what? I'm saying High Rock is also fair game, if Hammerfell's fair game.
Mm-hmm.
Since we only saw part of High Rock in Daggerfall. And congratulations to Dave. This is the first Elder Scrolls video he did all the research on.
Yeah, that's probably why it's not as good as the other ones.
But it's his first, so give him kudos. He did a good job. Good enough.
Good enough? It was terrible.
But that's pretty cool. So he's getting into it now. Getting psyched.
I'm going to make you do a video for Warhammer.
I'll do it. I'll do the crap out of it. But yeah, Black Marsh is next on our stop, which I'll be doing the work for that one. And whatever you want to see after that, just let us know, and maybe Dave will research that one too.
At least a little bit, probably, to do the video. So yeah.
But let us know what you think about the different guilds, the possible storyline. Sorry we didn't have any more ideas on the storyline. I know there's the Crowns and the Forebears and possible political conflict between them, but we just don't see that as being good enough for main story material.
We actually don't even, we said this before, we don't think the next game is going to be in Hammerfell.
But if it is, what do you think the main story will actually be? Your comments below are much appreciated. And anything else for him, Dave?
Chipotle sauce.
Chipotle sauce. Go spread it everywhere.